We're just about halfway through the year, and the Fed has just lowered its expectations for economic growth. For some insights into what's ahead for the second half of 2012, we're speaking with Doug Duncan, Fannie Mae's chief economist. Hi, Doug. Thanks for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. How you feeling about the economy right now?
Well, we had been at the bottom of the Fed's prior range, so now that they've adjusted down, we're right in the middle of the range. We haven't changed our forecast in 6 months.
Oh, is that right?
Longest period of stability in a forecast, probably maybe in my forecasting career. The one thing we've adjusted mid-year is that whereas previously we'd said the risks to better growth versus worse growth were equally balanced, now we're saying that it's on the worse growth side.
What do you think about the Fed's action this week? I mean, they basically said okay, we're going to re-up buying some bonds and keeping long-term rates low. But they didn't do much. So should they have done more?
It's kind of a precautionary move on their part. At this point, they've fired a lot of bullets. I think they want to be pretty careful to make sure they are firmly grounded in the need to fire whatever they think are their additional big bullets.
Do you think that those additional bullets could do something? So let me just give you the hypothetical. If something bad happens and they want to go out and start quantitative easing 3, and they want to go out and buy, inflate the balance sheet, buy some bonds, is it going to work?
Well, this has been a very activist Fed in that sense. We're looking at trying to figure out how much of an impact what they've done so far has been, and we're not convinced that the QE2 was terribly effective. So
QE1 was?
We think that did have an impact. We look at it from the mortgage perspective. Obviously, they're now the biggest single investor in MBS, and so we certainly keep an eye on and talk with them about its impact there. No question that action when they first started buying MBS brought rates and spreads down in the mortgage space. But the incremental change from additional moves for us has been hard to observe large impacts.
We go out and we talk to people all the time, and they always say the same thing. Why are more jobs not being created? What's the answer to that?
Well, the real engine of job creation is small business. So the surveys of small business show very few of them are planning on adding jobs this year. When asked why, number one is lack of sales. That's reasonable. But number two is concern about the regulatory and tax environment. And we commented on that in our January outlook, where we totaled up all the expiring tax provisions from December 31st, 2011, December 31st, 2012, January 1st, 2013. It's somewhere between $500 billion and $750 billion if nothing is done. That's 3 to 5% of GDP.
Wow.
If nothing's done about that, we'd have a recession in the first half of 2013.
So this is the so-called fiscal cliff.
Yeah, we didn't give it a fancy term.
I know. Well, now we have one, so that's
right.
Good. Do you think it's going to happen? Will lawmakers act?
If you look at our forecast, you'll see that we're forecasting 2.2% growth in 2013. That says we expect them to kick the can down the road somehow. We're not sure how that will happen, but we also don't expect them to fix the whole problem either. That means continued very weak growth.
Last question. Europe looks like it's kind of slowly melting down. If something bad happens in Europe and they go into a deep recession, they will pull us down that rabbit hole, won't they?
I don't think it will pull us to a recession, but it'll pull us toward the margin, no question. They're an important trading partner. They're actually more important to China, and we're watching the slowing in China, which is a big source of capital for the U.S. market. So the combination of those things has us concerned, but we wouldn't put a recession in the forecast for those reasons. But if there's not serious attention to the U.S. fiscal situation and we get the Europe and China problem, that could put us over the edge.
Eek, that's too scary. Let's not think about that one.
Housing's doing well.
Housing's doing well. That's good. Doug Duncan from Fannie Mae, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll continue tracking the economy here at CBSMoneyWatch.com. Thanks for watching.